Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I'm really excited about this. My guest in the studio was Australia's head cycling coach from 1980 through until 2000, and he was responsible as head coach for 78 gold medals, 80 silver medals and 50 bronze medals. Charlie Walsh, welcome.
Thank you, Mark. Nice to be here.
How do you feel when we reel off those numbers?
Just part of history. You do what you do at the time and you do what you think is best and certainly give your best.
It was quite unique for you though, wasn't it? Because you were sort of looking after three disciplines.
Yeah, that's right. I was looking after from the sprint through the track endurance and also people riding in the road tours.
Yeah, and that's unusual, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's unique, and that's just how it was in those days. You were the one and only coach, mechanic and everything else. But we evolved and added in another coach, Shane Bannon, later on, and then followed on with Gary West. So we had a very good crew, coaching crew. What
was it like at the start, in terms of resources, in terms of support?
Nothing. We had to generate that. Ray Godkin in Sydney helped us get some bikes for the 1984 Olympic Games. Very little was provided. The cyclists providing a lot of their own equipment. We're all working full time and up against people that were cyclists full time. So it was a challenge, but challenge should never deter you. It's just one of those things that makes it even greater when you do achieve.
Did you have to fight politics?
Oh, politics is one of the awful parts of sport, and it probably ended up wearing me out, I guess, but that's how life seems to be.
Well, you ended, on a high, and you were in the game and head coach for a long, long time. Is that unusual?
Probably, but I was a pretty fair survivor.
Yeah.
I had a remarkable wife that used to back me in massively, and without her support, because it wasn't just only that, I was developing coaching courses throughout Australia, writing manuals for them, and that was all very much a part of my wife was involved with it, all of that. So if you do not have that support of a fantastic woman, well, we don't achieve what we have.
Yeah, we're talking about Shirley, of course.
That's right.
Charlie, what makes, and perhaps if we be specific here, what makes a cyclist the very best in the world? What attributes does that individual, male or female, have to have?
Well, look, it's an overall package. The cyclist has to have the talent. They have to have a fierce commitment to do whatever is required. But then it's an overall package, and it starts with the organisation itself. And I had a really good program manager, a guy called Brendan Flynn. He was a former coach. And you might say every morning I walk in and it's, what can I do for you? And he was sensational. Then the other side, you have to have the athletes that are fiercely committed, that will challenge themselves and take others with them. And then it's the coaching package, and that involves a coaching philosophy. And your philosophy will involve from life's experiences, but also be very, very clear about what is the very best in the world and what do we have to do to be the very best in the world. Now, that can be, most usually, it's a number of people, be yourself doing research. Now, it's not an opinion. Everything has to be researched out to the nth degree, having people that were quite exceptional. So we had Neil Craig with us, and Neil was probably the best applied sports physiologist in the world. He would challenge me. We had a guy called Mike Noonan who would challenge me. And then Peter Barnes, our doctor, who was with the Power, once again, not soft, really good guy, and a lass called Sue Everett is our physio. So it's a collective group of people that will have this common goal, but also accept the coach's philosophy and back it in.
So it sounds to me as though the athlete doesn't just need to be disciplined and resilient and committed, but everyone around that athlete needs to be as well. That must be something that is difficult to achieve, because you're dealing with so many different people and so many different personalities.
Yeah, I guess you have to be lucky, but you also have to be a little selective. if people didn't fit, then they shouldn't stay. And so you need to be pretty clear about that. The athletes themselves, you rely on them giving you very good feedback about how they're feeling about something, what they think they may be getting out of it, so that you can keep making appropriate decisions. But it's certainly not about the athlete telling you what they need to do. They can give you a feedback, but it has to be very clear that the athlete's responsibility is to do whatever you ask them to do to the best of their ability, and they trust you in coming up with what is needed to see them as the best in the world.
If we lined up a dozen athletes, a dozen cyclists that you had under your tutelage, that were there when you were head coach of the Australian cycling team, would some of them say you were too hard? Would some of them say you were difficult to deal with because of what you required and your level of excellence?
Well, I don't necessarily know what they would be thinking. Certainly from my perspective, I would be challenging myself to be better and better, and I had an expectation. Now that doesn't mean to say I don't negotiate. You will always negotiate with athletes, you will always listen to them, and you will modify.
Sounds like some sort of deal. Negotiate, I like that.
Yeah. It is a deal.
Yeah.
But it's a collective deal.
It's a collective deal, yeah.
But I certainly did have high expectations, and I wouldn't ask them to do anything I wasn't prepared to do myself. So in the early days when I was more capable, I would train with them. And whatever I asked them to do, I was quite prepared to do myself,
do it yourself,
or I had done myself. So it's not as if it was unrealistic. I probably didn't possess the talent that, say, like a Mike Turner, Stuart O'Grady, or Dean Woods of those. But I was probably just a rung below them, but I certainly learnt over time how to challenge myself, and you don't give in.
Who's? I know this is a very general question, but who is the best or one of the best athletes that you've coached, and why?
If I take a total package, and look, there were quite a few, but three that would come to mind. One is Mike Turner, because we were in the embryo stages.
That was the early stages, yeah.
That's right, and so they went through pretty severe hardship in the way they had to do it. And once again I challenged, but Mike Turner backed us in all the way, and without that backing, the others don't come along in the party. Then Dean Woods followed him, and he was once again exceptional. Stuart O'Grady was probably a little better in the performance side because he could cover so much. So he was world champion, he's been Olympic champion on track cycling, and a top flight road rider, so his spectrum covered the lot. What made Stuart really good is that whatever I asked for him, he didn't question it, he just wanted to see how hard he could do it.
Wow.
And I can remember him coming to me one time, and I'd set them a goal to do something that's never been done in the world before. And he came to me partway through it, and he said, well, you've got us with this challenge, can I actually go above and beyond that challenge?
Is that right?
That is right.
Wow.
And so...
That's unique.
It is unique, and the leadership to the others made that quite exceptional, and they actually took on this challenge. Now, we'll all do it at our own different levels, but because of that leadership of Stuart, they went on, they broke 3 world records in every ride they rode, and won world championships. So it's that special leadership of being prepared to go above and beyond, not be happy and be comfortable, because being comfortable does not win gold medals.
That's fascinating, and I love it when I have these discussions with you, and I'm really pleased that we're able to share it with the public. What about athletes these days? Are they different? Do they need to be treated differently to the way you treated and other coaches treated athletes 10, 20 years ago?
Well, I think any coach will respond to the uniqueness of an athlete, and that should never ever change. But the bottom line in sport is, unless you're prepared to challenge yourself, to go above and beyond, to be better than anybody else in the competition, you're not going to get there. So it's a matter of defining what are the minimum requirements. And then from those minimum requirements, if an athlete's not prepared to do it, well, what do they expect? Now, we maybe wanted to be treated a little bit different, and certainly with technology and the way that sport is, you should manage them better than what we were able to do. But you cannot walk away from the fact that there is a minimum requirement in any sport to be the best in the world. And unless you're prepared to do that, now with our differing talents, so you and I will be different, and that will make it a little different in what we would do with you and what you do with me, but ultimately there's still a minimum level. It's how you will actually go about it.
I love talking to you, Charlie. I really do, and you're very inspirational. Just very quickly, how's your golf?
I'm not satisfying the minimum level.
You're not satisfying You've actually come from golf today.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, okay. Is that some sort of indication as to how you went today?
Yeah, well, we're not what we used to be.
A wonderful discussion, Charlie, and congratulations on your outstanding record. And I know that so many who have worked underneath you absolutely love what you did, and they love the fact that that went off. I don't know, what maybe that's one of your athletes ringing in.
No, we're being gonged out.
We're being gonged out. My very special guest, former Australian cycling coach, Charlie Walsh.
Thank you, Mark.